Hey guys, I'm Andrew Polino from the Sandbox, and this is the Samsung Gear 360. Now, as commercially available 360 cameras go, this one's fairly similar to the Nikon Key Mission, and the workflow behind using it is pretty much the same. You can take the camera on its own out in the field to record your 360 video. You can pair it up with a mobile app to fine-tune the camera settings and really kind of get the most out of it. And you can transfer the video files onto your computer where you can automatically stitch them and combine them on your video editing software. And I'm going to talk you through the basics on those steps. So to start with, let's make sure we've got the camera appropriately set up here. Now inside this little compartment, you've got your battery chamber where you can replace the battery. These are available for about 20 bucks each on Samsung's website. And if you're recharging them from being fully used up, they take about 2.5 hours to charge. So if you're going on a really long shoot, I would suggest carrying some spares. Now below that, on the left, you got your micro SD card slot. Make sure you've got one loaded up. And next to that is the micro USB port, which is where you can plug this into a charger. Okay, so once you're all set up, we can go over the basic functions here. If you've ever used a GoPro before, the arrangement of the buttons is fairly similar. On the bottom you got the power button, the menu button, and on the very top is the recording button for starting and stopping. And in front of the recording button is our menu screen. So to take a look at what we can control just from the camera alone, let's turn it on, hold the button down for about 1.5 seconds. And when the camera turns on, you'll see the menu screen now has the mode that we're shooting in, which is that video camera, the amount of battery power the camera has left, and the amount of time the memory card has left. So we can start recording now or go through our options. Hit the menu button to scroll through the options. Now we can change the mode we're shooting in, including photo mode, time-lapse, video looping, and our settings. Now, as we go through our settings, you'll want to use the buttons to navigate. You can use the menu button to keep scrolling through different options, use the power button to backtrack, and use the recording button to settle on a selection. So we want to go into settings. And your options include switch lens, which basically means turning on one or both of the two lenses here. Now I think if you're shooting with just one lens and 180-degree vision, you can go for a slightly higher resolution, but since we're shooting in 360, we just want to make sure that both of these are on, and you can tell by the little red lights on either side of the lenses. Other things we can adjust include video size, which I would leave at the default resolution here of 3840 by 1920. Press the power button to backtrack. It can also adjust photo size, time-lapse, the countdown timer, which is your standard camera countdown between when you push the button and it actually starts recording. I currently have it set to 2 seconds, but depending on your needs, you can choose between 5 seconds or 10 seconds or turn it off altogether. The amount of time it takes before the camera automatically powers down after a certain amount of time being idle. I have it set to 3 minutes, and you can choose between that, 5 minutes, 30 minutes, or 1. This is where you can format and clear out your SD card. And those are your settings. Alright, so once you've got everything set the way you want it, make sure that you have the camera set to video mode before you do anything else. And again, you can see that little video camera icon in the upper left corner of the menu screen. And then all you need to do is push the record button. And there you go. You are recording out in the field. Now, when you're recording out in the field, I would make sure that you keep the camera nice and steady on a tripod, and that you keep the tripod on a flat and even surface. Now, depending on where you're shooting, you can either use this little mini tripod that comes with the kit, or you can use a standard tripod. This one screws off at the base, and it has a 1/4-inch thread. And if you're going to be using a standard tripod, we've also included an 8-inch long tripod extension, because the further away the bottom of the camera is from the tripod, the less visible the tripod is in the shot. And that covers the basics. Now, like I said before, if you really want to get the most out of the camera, you're going to want to take advantage of the app. And we're going to go over how to use that. Okay, so let's take a look at the Samsung Gear 360 app. Now, we've included a Samsung phone with the app along with this camera kit, and we've paired the camera and the phone up already, so connecting to the camera using the app will be fairly straightforward. Just open up the app and hit the connect button here, and it should have little to no trouble finding the camera and connecting to it, as long as you have Bluetooth enabled on your phone, and as long as Bluetooth is enabled on the camera as well. So, the settings that we're going to want to look through are on the camera screen. Alright, if we go into that, you see we get a little video sphere here where we can preview our shot, swipe around it to kind of look around in 360. And you'll see some of the same options we had on the camera settings. The mode that we're shooting in, the turning on or off of different lenses. And if you hit the little gear icon in the upper right corner, there's the video size, the amount of the countdown timer, and a couple of extra features here. Sharpness, I would generally only turn off if the image that you're getting is showing a lot of digital or visual noise or a lot of grain in the texture. Reduce wind noise, that's handy if you're taking the sound directly from the camera. If you have another digital audio recording and you can clap or snap on camera to sync the two of them, that's even better. But if you're in a pinch and you have to use the camera's microphone and you're outside, reduce wind noise is a nice little option. But let's get into the visual settings you can now control using the app, starting with the exposure. Now, this one you might want to get used to a little bit because that yellow slider is what you have to drag and move, but that can be a little bit difficult to hit sometimes. But as you'll see, as you push the slider forward, you can change the exposure in the image. You can change the white balance preset. Now there's quite a few different presets here. Now by default it's usually set to auto, and other presets include aqua. That's for underwater shots, but this is not a waterproof camera, so do not submerge the Gear 360 underwater. There are see-through compartments that you can shoot 360 underwater footage in. Please make sure you get one of those before you even consider doing underwater shots. You've also got a daylight preset for shooting out in the sun, cloudy, incandescent lighting, and fluorescent lighting, which is fairly close to what we've got going on in this room. Alright, HDR you can turn on or off. I would usually keep it on because, particularly if you're in a place where there's a vibrant variety of colors and a lot of different textures, lighting, this will help you get higher quality images. And once you're happy with the settings, you just hit the record button. And again, you can continue to preview your image as the video is recording. And you can also quick adjust the exposure if the light changes or if you need to kind of adjust the image. And on top of that, the thing about this app is that the changes you make to the settings stay that way after you disconnect or close the program. They don't revert back to default. So either be prepared to readjust the settings as necessary. If you're not taking the app out in the field with you, you can always set the camera up ahead of time and then bring it out. Or you can, of course, bring the app out with you into the field and fine-tune as you go. And that should be most of what you need to know. One other thing that you want to make sure you keep in mind is the gallery feature on the app, because this shows you the pictures and videos that you've taken that are currently inside the camera's memory. And this is what's under Gear 360. And let's take a look. Let's preview one of these. Now, as you probably noticed, all of the images here in the gallery are two spheres. This hasn't stitched it into a 360 image. It's showing what each of the two sphere lenses have captured. But you can use the 360 button here to preview the video in full 360 and fast convert it into a little sphere.
And again, you can continue to preview your image.
All right, and if you hit save, you can transfer the video from your camera's memory onto your phone. Okay, now I'm going to speed this up on this video just for the sake of time, but just so you know, it took about a little over a minute to transfer about 25 seconds worth of video. So here's the video now, fully stitched in 360 on the phone, and this is where you can also share the video. And this is perfect if you want to share the video clip immediately on social media, via text, via Slack, or upload it directly onto YouTube. You got plenty of options here. Okay, and that winds up the quick start tutorial for the Gear 360, the camera and the app. Now, when you're ready to go over how to take the clips that you've shot and edit them into a finished piece on your computer, then you can check out the workflow tutorial on our kit page. Thanks for watching, guys.